Mitchell Stankovic and Associates and the Underground Ideas into Action presents The Underground Chats, authentic conversations with credit union thought leaders. Today's chat, Small Credit Union, Big Impact, with Alex Casillas, President and CEO at My Credit Union.
So, how are you? How's your family? How's the credit union family?
Hey, Sue. I'm doing very well. My family's doing well. We're doing our best to stay safe and sane. And if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I've been spending my time making face masks. So that's what I've been doing.
I did.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing that. Started making them for my staff, and a neighbor found out that I was making them, and he was also making them for a homeless shelter. So I helped him make some for the homeless shelter. And when that was done, I had friends on social media who started asking if they could buy them. And rather than sell them, I have sold a few. I would send them out, and I would just say, just pay it forward. Pay for someone's Starbucks. Do something. Just accept this as a gift from me. And so remember, pay it forward, because that's going to come back a little bit later. So I've had a lot of fun doing those masks, and then I would just make Halloween masks for my staff, holiday masks. It's just been a fun event during these challenging times, and I never thought I'd still be making them this many months later, because I think I started last April.
So let's go back to the, if you will, kind of the challenging time in 2020, and how's everybody doing? How'd the credit union respond?
The credit union responded great. I have to give my staff a lot of credit. They really faced this challenge head on. We would have daily staff meetings going forward. It was challenging getting some of them set up to work from home. But once we were able to do that, it was good. We were good to go there. Our county was one of the first in the nations to start the stay-at-home order. And we're the only credit union in the county that was offering shared branching. And we had to shut that down for a while when the pandemic first started. So that hurt. That it wasn't just our members that were impacted by that. It was other credit union members that we serve. We opened that up again in June. And it's been a godsend, not just for the employees, because it gives them more people to see and help during the pandemic. We're taking safety precautions, but it also helps those other members who kind of relied on us during that time, who can't get to their own credit union. So I give my staff a lot of credit for really stepping up to the plate.
So where are you located for our audience?
So we're located in Redwood City, California. So we are halfway between San Francisco and San Jose, to give you a visual there.
So when you look at 2020, what are your observations from an industry perspective? What do you think's taken place? What do we need to do differently?
Well, I think credit unions faced a lot of challenges in 2020, and I think it kind of led them into operating in areas that they didn't expect to. Working from home. We have a lot of our staff had the opportunity to work from home. We're a small staff, where there's only 6 of us, so that was very challenging. But it kind of made us realize that that's something that we might be able to continue in the future. I would also say that, I think credit unions are going to have to look at investing in their branches. And, that's kind of contrary to what everyone else kind of believes, maybe the branch is going away. But we found out that, doing shared branching, that people want to come into the branch. They want that person-to-person contact. So it might not be a branch, with a large footprint. It could be a smaller branch, but just one that has, a lot of technology, but still has that human contact for the members. I think that was important for them. And I think one of the things that credit unions probably really need to do is take care of your employees. I think we really learned this year just how valuable they are. They don't get the recognition like some of the other essential workers do, like grocery store clerks and things like that. But they're right there. They're helping everyone. We're an essential service. And so, take care of your employees. I think that is probably one of the most important things we can do right now.
So take care of our members, take care of our employees, be open, be connected. It's interesting
Exactly.
that it's like all about the social purpose of what the credit unions are all about. So as you look to 2021 and you think about the transitions that we've gone through, because we've gone through significant change in the last year, and we're at the heart of it. All of, credit unions are social purpose, so they're going to be part of DEI initiatives. They're going to be part of political advocacy. I think there's a lot of areas that we're, involved in. So when you look to 2021, what are your thoughts?
Oh, 2021, I think is going to be a challenging year, just like 2020, because not much has changed. We started off the year with riots, political strife. Just a great division that's continuing. But I'm hoping, I'm an optimistic person, and I feel hopeful. With the vaccine coming out, we might get back to a normal life. I think that 2020 made us really face some of the ugly truths in this country. And I don't think it's just going to be one of those things, okay, now we're just going to move on from it. I think we're going to learn from it. Learn from that and really make changes this year, whether it's systemic racism, LGBTQ issues, the Me Too movement with, just equality in the workplace for everyone. I do see changes coming there. So I think that's going to impact credit unions as well.
I love that. As you probably know, through the underground and some of the work that we do, we stand up for different issues, and sometimes I call it poking the bear. I like to make sure that we're having the conversations around topics that sometimes are difficult to have, but I do believe that it's not event driven. I believe that we have to dig deeper, and there is a divide. One of the initiatives that we were proud to be part of was the formation of CU Pride in 2020, and there's over 500 members already. And so Zach, that you met earlier, is one of the founders. And so we're just excited that when we look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, we know that it has to be inclusive. It's not about exclusiveness. It's not about a divide or division of thought. I think thought leadership has to have the ability to stand up and to push things forward. So
I agree 100% with that. It's like I said, it makes all of us look inward. What we want, how we want to be treated in the workplace, and how others want to be treated. We just want equality.
Yep, a voice of you're absolutely right. So I think that being that I now am a grandma, I should say grandmother, I've had the opportunity to see the impact of some of these things that we're doing, and children are so innocent, and I really believe that they look at the world through the eyes of wonder. And it's just, this is my commentary here, but when I watch them, and there's just none of this stuff, so it's a learned response so often. So I'm hopeful too, Alex. I'm cautious because I was very ready for 2021 to be here, and then obviously we've had a tough January, but I think that we're seeing people committing, and I'm hearing hopeful stories. So
yeah, me too. So knock on wood. Let's hope for a good 2021.
There you go. So when you take a look at the idea of some of the blinding flashes of the obvious, the Tom Peters concept of a BFO, and the point that sometimes things were right there in front of our face, do you have any of those that you want to share?
I think just kind of going back to it took a pandemic to kind of make things obvious to us. We're so set in our ways and how we do things and our routines, whether it's at home and it's at work, and that just changed on a dime this past year. And it kind of made me realize, like, hey, you know what? being a small credit union, we can, allow our employees to work from home. We can have a little more casual dress code. Being here in Silicon Valley, we kind of do already. But it's just making those little changes that we learned from the pandemic. That was, wasn't obvious to me beforehand, but it's obvious to me now. So, I think there's going to be some hopefully some good coming out in 2021 with some of these changes that we can make. And I'm looking forward to making those changes. My staff is looking forward to some of the changes coming up. So we'll see. And I'm hoping the members are going to like those changes as well.
Yes, so you are in Silicon Valley, and I'm seeing these. I'm going to I want to follow up to that. I'm seeing major companies, if you will, that have all gone virtual, and the question of how they're going to come back to work, and then some are moving out of state. And I'm just curious, what's your observation there? Are you seeing the business evolve?
I think it's mixed. I think Google has said that they will be back eventually. They're not going to continue their work from home model for all their employees. But there is a company in San Francisco who there was a building being built for them. There was going to be a long-term lease, and they canceled the lease. It cost them millions of dollars because they were going to just stay work from home. There are companies that are moving out of state. That's not only impacting those employees, but it's also impacting credit unions as well. There is a company, credit union based in San Francisco, where their headquarters moved to Texas. So it's a mixed bag. California is one of those states where you love to live here because of the weather and everything, but there are some challenges as well. But I think these companies moving out will be replaced by other companies who are eager to be here in this market.
But that's a fascinating point. That hasn't come up, Alex. I think that it's interesting. The whole idea of this, relocation of businesses, and that a credit union was part of that. So I think that's going to continue then to be a disruption, because we're going to have to figure out how to serve. I mean, obviously we can do it virtually, but like you said, the branch is a connection. So we're probably going to see an evolution of how credit unions respond to these field of membership changes.
That's very true. It's kind of what we've seen in the past. We had a sponsor way back in the day. So many credit unions have lost those sponsors and have gone by the wayside. We changed to a community credit union. Maybe you'll see some more of that. With these companies moving out, and it may just be now that everything's digital, it may not even have that much of an impact in the long run. So it's going to be a fun ride to take. It's just another challenge that I think credit unions will be able to take and meet it successfully.
Yeah, and small credit unions, you mentioned the diversity of the credit union space as well. And I think that the journey of a credit union that's able to respond, one-on-one with their communities and their people. We've heard conversations around how important it's going to be for credit unions of all sizes to continue to exist. And we were talking to Frank Diekman from See You Today, and he was saying that that's going to be a personal mission for him. It's something that he wants people to reach out to him about, because small credit unions have such a key role in consumer and our members' livelihoods and their life.
I'm going to need his contact information. I would love to talk to him, because I'm a huge small credit union advocate. I did serve on the Shapiro Advisory Group here for the California Credit Union League, which is the small credit union group here. And so I would love to talk to him. If there's any way I can help him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a need for the small credit unions in the industry.
There's a need, and that's perfect. We'll connect with Frank. I also think that he wants the voices, with See You Today and, the conversations around it. And so I think connecting the two of you, and also, seeing what we could do to increase the voice, because the world is shifting. And you mentioned that about the Shapiro Group. I think that's even evolved since you and I've been in the business. We've seen, the change happen there. And so I think 2020, do you see it as that we have a real risk ahead here in the next couple of years for our small credit unions?
I do. I really do. And I can speak, I'll talk about my credit union, which is my credit union. That's like a who's on first situation. It has been challenging. We had so many projects and initiatives that we were going to do in 2020 that, we had to put on hold. We're not getting the loan volume that we were getting. So we're looking for alternative ways, whether that's with participations, or new venues for getting members and loans in the door. It's going to be challenging, and I think that some credit unions aren't going to be able to meet that challenge.
So how big asset-wise is your credit union?
We're 34 million in assets, with about 2,400 members.
So that's the thing I think for the audience to understand, is that when we talk about credit unions, we talk about ones that were founded to serve, original common bond, employer group, or a community purpose. And those credit unions, we have just over 5,000 credit unions in the industry, and we probably have 75% that are less than 100 million. It's a pretty interesting divide, and yet so important. The connections that you make and the commitment that you make to your community.
I agree, and being a small credit union, I'm going to speak for small credit unions in general. You need to really have the conversation with your boards, and put merger in the discussion. I would rather a credit union take control of their own destiny, and do the right thing to help their members, and seek out a merger partner that they want, rather than wait until the last minute and have the regulators step in and force the merger, and they lose control of that process. I think it's really important that credit unions have an open and honest discussion with their boards about that.
So that's a very progressive thought. I think that we are either on one side or the other side, again, a divide about that question. But you've got 2,400 members that are being served by credit union, and the difference a not-for-profit makes. And so we don't want to see that go away. And like you said, being proactive and finding somebody that has the same culture, the same mission that you have, is going to be important to the overall movement. And then also initiatives that will continue to support our small credit unions so that we can, see them survive. With the work we do around the world, a $34 million credit union in a community has a big impact. You happen to find yourself in Silicon Valley, which is one of the Bay Area. So what are you, the capital of the financial services world almost, other than New York City? It's challenging. We have two very large credit unions. I go out the door, I turn right, I'll hit a large credit union. If I turn left, I'll hit the other large credit union in this neighborhood. So it is a challenge. But again, small credit unions have a place in the community. It's funny, we would get members from one of those large credit unions through shared branching. They would walk in and they're like, "Oh, I want to do my business here," their shared branching business, because the lines in their lobby are too long and I can get in and out faster with you guys. They just kind of have known us as the cookie credit union, because before the pandemic, we would make cookies every day for our members. So we've been hearing a lot about that lately, and like, when are you going to bring back the cookies? So yeah, it's challenging working in this market, but there are those little niche things that you can do to kind of set yourself apart. And I think that
from the big guys. And I think that's what our members and the shared branching members appreciate about us.
Well, the personal touch and the way you care about your community. And I bet when you take a look at your membership, how many of them really know you? You know what I mean? And you know them.
Yeah.
And so you really are a part of their support system. So I imagine during this time, that's become even more critical. But cookies, how fabulous is that? Early in my career, I remember walking into a branch and I could hear this little pitter patter happening. And I look around and there's this little puppy coming in, and they go right up to the new account desk, and the representative reaches down and she's got, cookies for her pets. And I just thought that is so clever. And then you could see the owner of the pet come walking in, and they knew exactly where to find their little buddy. So it just reminded me of how unique we can be if we want to do that. So, all right. So when you think about, what you'd like to say to the industry, do you have a couple of ideas into action that you'd like to either challenge us with or just communicate?
Challenges. I mentioned pay it forward a little earlier. I want to challenge people to pay it forward. There's a credit union, I believe they're in Wisconsin, and they actually empower their employees to pay it forward, whether it's, paying for someone's lunch, Starbucks, bus fare, and their employees have a budget to do this. And I thought that was excellent. So we do it on a small scale, but, we allow the employees here to do that as well. And we are hoping soon to create a campaign around that called My CU Cares. When you do this, you give them a little card and ask them to go on social media and talk about it. So if you're in a position at a credit union that you can empower your employees to do that, I would challenge you to do that. If you're an employee who can't make that decision, I would challenge you to ask your boss and say, hey, I want to get our name out there in the community. I want to do random acts of kindness for people. So just pay it forward with something like that. Another challenge I have for people is, this would be on a personal note, is 2020 was a disaster of a year. I think stress levels increased. Take 30 minutes a day just for yourself, whether you're going to just go for a walk, listen to music, read a book, or sew face masks. Just take some time for yourself. I know everyone's been working really hard, and I just kind of want to remind people that it's really important to take time out for yourself.
Time out, recover,
Yes.
continue to reinforce. And like you said, when you started, you're an optimistic person. And I think people look to the people in our lives that are optimistic. And so quite often that is, it's something that we welcome because it's, natural. But on the other hand, it's tough. It's tough every morning to get up and, and be the one that people count on. So thank you for being that person.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think it's funny to see how we've all evolved, isn't it? I'm sure you looked and you went, what is she up to now with these undergrads? But I really think that the history of what we've seen and where we're going, and like you said earlier about being controversial, I think that I really believe that maybe it's this point in life, but I think we have to stand up. We have to stand up for some of the stuff, you know. And sometimes it's at a personal risk. Because you always want to be politically correct, as you said. But on the other hand, this has been a time when it's a day of reckoning, Yeah,
and this is just a really short story about standing up. There was a conference I was at. It was many years ago. It was a business development and marketing conference. And the speaker started talking about gay marriage, and he said, and if it disgusts you like it disgusts me, and no, and I'm like looking around, I said, did I just hear that correctly? And I did, and rather than saying something, I just got up and walked out. But I thought to myself, I should have stood up and say something. But I did bring it to the attention of the organizers of the conference, and the speaker did apologize to me afterwards. But that's one of those things where if I could do something differently and take a stand, then and there I would have.
Well, I think that we all have to feel safe, and you actually took a stand by not staying, right? Yeah. Not letting it go, and then speaking up afterwards and making this person aware that it's not okay. That's probably one of the greatest lessons for all of us, is that we do walk away sometimes. I don't necessarily, even the mask situation, to be honest with you, this has been, you're in California, we're in Nevada, there's such a variety of people that we encounter every day. And the whole idea of even wearing a mask and having that be controversial is absurd to me. So when you talk about something as important as our rights to be a human, okay, and to love whoever we love, I've learned more in the last, I don't know, year, 2 years. Linda Bodie started some of the conversations at our underground a couple of years ago, and she told stories on a personal level about herself and about her partner and about her friends and about her parents' reaction. I mean, she's made it so personal, her voice, that once we heard her voice and the vulnerability of it, it became something that we were all compelled to move on. So what I'm really proud about on the CU Pride initiative is that it's not only our community, but it's also the allies and the support and making us all aware. And so, just becoming aware that we need to speak up and also have a frame of reference to learn. I've learned so much, and luckily I have a bud here that periodically says, "Well, you didn't say that exactly right." And I go, "Oh, okay." And I think that no matter what it is, whether it's white privilege and some of the not new terms, but something that I haven't researched. There's just our whole involvement in DEI initiatives have sponsored it. As you know, I've been with Global Women's Leadership and the chair of that for a long time. And when you think about some of this diversity, it crosses all borders, it crosses all boundaries. When you look at the LGBTQ community, that's not just people of color or white people. It's like, it's all groups. And I think that's what we have to understand.